Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the VoskCoin YouTube channel. And yes, mining is still profitable in 2019, ladies and gentlemen. There's absolutely no question about that. Today we're going to be talking about ASIC mining, which is application-specific integrated circuit mining. Basically a purpose-built device just like this one I had stashed away right there for you guys. These things, they do one thing and one thing only. That is, they mine a specific cryptocurrency or really a mining algorithm, which lets them mine basically a couple coins. But that device I just showed you, it can only mine, say Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, or say it can only mine X11 mining algorithm, which would be things like Dash. It can't play Fortnite. It can't mine a different coin on a different algorithm. Again, it's a purpose-built device. To keep today's video focused, it's going to be only about these ASIC miners and basically the top 5 ones, which would be things like Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, Dash, and also Zcash up there. And we're also going to have an upcoming video on GPU mining profitability, as well as maybe something smaller scale like CPU mining profitability. But those are going to be separate videos posted here on the VoskCoin YouTube channel at a later date. We're trying to keep today's video short, sweet, concise. And while today's video is going to focus on mining profitability, I'm going to highlight the hardware that should be more or less the best bet when it comes to mining these specific coins, and also just touch on some other things that are kind of ridiculous. For example, in ASIC mining, it's often that the hardware has a shorter lifespan than really most things in life. So you could get a device, you're going to be making like $100 a day. Trust me, we've done it here on the channel before. See? Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Vosk, the VoskCoin YouTube channel, and today's video is all about the AMP Miner D3. When I got that miner and it was mining Dash, I was making over $100 that first day, right? But that quickly dropped, and that device, to like right now, it makes sense. And that was just 2 years ago. So some things to keep in mind. Also, on that same topic, if you go to these mining calculator sites, unless all this hardware is out, don't even think that those things are remotely accurate. So if you see these calculators which say you get this Grin miner, right? Grincoin, they have 2 algorithms. One is not ASIC resistant at all, so there was no doubt that ASIC miners were coming in on the horizon, especially with how popular that coin became, and thus it became more profitable and subsequently increased the incentive to make these devices for it. Remember, mining's a money game in today's age. And so anyway, my point is just when you see this thing, and if you buy this device and you think you're going to plug it in and you're going to be making $1,000 a day for the foreseeable future, you would be foreseeably wrong. Okay, so please understand that this isn't financial advice, but I'm trying to save your ass on getting burnt. It doesn't mean that these devices cannot be a good play and a good bet. However, definitely don't go into it thinking that you're going to be making like $1,000 a day. That's not happening. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into today's video, breaking down the top 5 mineable ASIC crypto coins, profitability, relevant hardware, and some other interesting info. And one of the most profitable miners out that a lot of people are overlooking. And it's not for one of the top 5 coins. And somehow I'm still gonna try to keep this under 10 minutes, but well, you know how that goes. When it comes to ASIC mining profitability, ASIC miner value is a good place to start. Keep in mind, this site is 100% ran off of referral links, so things may look a little bit better than they kind of should. Also, please keep in mind that they do not take off scams. For example, the ASIC miner Xeon is an absolute confirmed scam. We got one in, they redirected the hash power to them. They can remotely wipe those devices and have them running and mining to their addresses. So there are some absolutely very terrible products on here. They also put devices on here that are not yet confirmed, which could be in turn vaporware. Just some things to keep in mind. A little bit of a disclaimer there. Don't want you guys to get screwed, basically. So, as we talked about, we've got the 1,000 a day Grin miner that's in production from Obelisk. Obviously, that it's not going to be hitting $1,000 whenever those people who did buy it get it in person. It will probably be pretty profitable though, but I don't know. We'll see where that goes. This site's a good idea to kind of just get a basis of what's going on, what's recent, what's new. Just a ASIC dashboard, basically. One of the features I really do like is that you can search by algorithm just like this. So I can put in X11, which would be synonymous with Dash mining, and I can get the insight on the Dash miners. If you remember the SPX36, we reviewed it here on the VoskCoin YouTube channel. That was fun. That's a really cool device. You can see that Strong U, which I actually can confirm with you guys, I actually just got the U2 in, that they are a real company, not vaporware. So It is very possible that this device is on the horizon, but please keep in mind November 2019 is very far away, and depending on everything, that could be making less or more by the time it actually hits. But let's just say, going into the scenario, you wanted to mine Dash, right? Well, we'd be looking at a couple things here. What has the most hash rate and what's the associated power usage, and thus your most profit per day. As you can see here, we have these two devices. Fusion Silicon, I've heard mixed things. Haven't actually seen one of them in person, but basically for me, I'd be looking at this. The SPX36 is a real miner from a reputable company. I would be trying to figure out how cheap I could get that, like say $3,000. How long would that take me to go ahead and break even? If I wanted to figure that out, I would take 750 and I would, say let's do it by just 365 a whole year. If I mined with that and paid my electric bill out of my mined earnings, I would still not break even in a year. Not the worst thing, just some stuff to keep in mind, and that's at a USD value. It's also, you got to think about the coin, getting more coin, hoping it rises in value, and so forth. One of the really cool features of really cool developments as of late would be Masari and their on-chain FX dashboard. This is some cool stuff, give you some really good, easy to digest information here. So for example, with Dash, over the last 24 hours, new issuance, aka how many coins have been created, that would be $272,000, so $250,000. With this, keep in mind this is newly issued coins. So about half of that is going to mining and half of that is going to their masternodes, if I understand that correctly. This is very, very helpful information when you're trying to calculate just how many miners, how much hash rate can a coin sustain. Again, we're going to be going through the other ones here soon, but just to break it down in another chart form, I'm over here on BitInfo charts, and I'll have links out to everything I'm talking about in this video in the video description below that you can reference yourself and get real-time, up-to-date, most relevant information as possible. Oh, and also timestamps to jump around and reference stuff if you want to. And while you can try to analyze two things at once, it's normally easier to analyze one thing at once. So we turn off hash rate and we get mining profitability. We can see mining profitability has been pretty steady over the last 6 months with this coin, which is good and bad. And if we go to the hash rate, right? We go to the hash rate, and within the last year, the hash rate has pretty much doubled. And the price has not doubled, so your earnings will be going down. But with the way the market's going, maybe that's a lot of farms gearing up for what they think will be a good increase in the price, or there's just newer, more powerful hardware coming out that is taking a piece of that pie. On the topic of ASIC miners, do you guys remember the Antminer A3? It mined SiaCoin. Well, you may remember that SiaCoin and Obelisk forked off those miners. And that's where we cue the sponsor of today's video, SiaPrime. They are basically a friendly fork to SiaCoin, and they are utilizing the original mining algorithm. So if you still have those machines and you want to throw them at something, this is something to think about. Their goals are pretty simple. They basically have the same goals as far as my understanding. I've talked to them a bit. They honestly seem like a decent op. They also have a video competition going on, which this video is not a part of, but you can check it out with the link in the video description below. You can head over there and you can submit a video for a chance to win some of their coin. They have a pretty big giveaway going on. So we pretty much summed up Dash. What about the OG, the big boy, the godfather of Bitcoin? So we look at the 24-hour issuance, and this is 100% proof of work. So that means that all of these coins are distributed to miners. We have a whopping 15 million coins. It's no wonder that Bitcoin mining is such a big deal. And anyone who doesn't realize that, it honestly kind of blows my mind. So we got 15 million USD up for grabs every single day with this coin until it halves next year. So that'll be interesting. It'll cut that earning in half if we had the same price per coin. An easy way to get some quick insight on some of the current and upcoming SHA-256, aka Bitcoin miners, which again would be to use that search bar over here. Keep in mind it doesn't always have everything, so don't treat it as a cure-all list here. But we have the 8 Nano Pro from ASIC Miner, which again I had here, and it's a total scammy device. Then we have the WhatsMiner M20S. I've got a buddy who just got one in. I'm actually going to text him here and see if I can put up a picture of it on this video to show you guys, hey, like this is what it looks like. He says that it's crushing, hashing away perfectly for him. That has a release date of August 2019, but it goes to show you if you know the right people, you can already have one. I mean, it's June right now. Just saying. Then we have the S17s, which we reviewed here recently on the channel. Cool devices, profitable, and again, this is all going to come down to, what you're paying for what. If we look at, say, the S9, which is, the ant miner, Bitcoin miner that is standing the test of time here, while it only may make, say, $2.50 a day, $1.50 a day, if you get these for $300 instead of $3,000 for some of the other models, these could be more profitable for you. Keep in mind that all of this is calculated with a 12 cents per kilowatt hour electric rate, which is like standard US residential electric, more or less. If you have a farm rate, which on average would be about 5 cents, these earning rates dramatically, well, not up to $1,000, but they dramatically increase. So you get an S9 and you got a farm rate, you're making almost $4 a day. Yes, mining is still profitable in 2019, ladies and gentlemen. There's absolutely no question about that. So basically, to sum it up, it's all going to come down to getting a model for a good price. My recommendations would be to get something like an S9 or an S17, depending on what you could get those for and your subsequent electric rate. If we go over to BitInfo charts and look at the profitability, you can see our profitability is being measured, almost as high as it's been in a year. If we go to the hash rate, which I didn't mean to click that one. If we go to the hash rate, it's relatively similar here. I mean, we can look at the low over here. We could say we have, like a 30% increase here. But all things considered, with the uptick in Bitcoin's price, and considering how low it was over this whole period, $6,000 here, $4,000 here, we're in pretty good shape as far as hash rate goes, as far as I'm concerned. Let's go ahead and jump into Ethereum mining. Previously dominated by GPUs, and GPUs are still viable on it, even though it has a ton of ASICs on the network, which, to be honest, is just kind of weird. Also note, I'm going to wrap up all these algorithms a bit here at the end, and just kind of my thoughts on that, if you're interested in that. And with all that said and in mind, one of the reasons that we aren't seeing more, or I think so, this is just an estimate guess here, that we don't see more and more Ethereum ASIC miners is because there's so much talk about moving to Prague POW. And these companies don't want to spend millions to develop these miners, get them all set, get them made, use them, hash away, and also sell them when the algorithm could be changed. They're in the business of making money, not breaking even. So with that said, depending what you can get these devices for, they could be, pretty profitable or pretty not. At the end of the day, Ethereum still remains one of the top options to mine, even for GPUs with ASICs on it. I know I just said that, but it's just kind of weird. But let's go ahead and look at mining profitability. You can see it's, not in the best shape, but it definitely has had an uptick. If we go and look at the hash rate, you will see that the hash rate continued to fall with the price, and it's pretty much flatlined, even though that Ethereum has gone up, a good amount here in the last couple months. I mean, an increase from 150 terahash to, 160, 170. That's not too bad. That's not too bad, all things considered. I forgot to touch on their issuance, though. One thing to keep in mind when you're looking at their profitability and their hash rate over the last year, they have had a block reward reduction, and their mining has been just such a cluster to follow for years, in my opinion. But the fact of the matter is that they are issuing, $3.6 million worth of coin every 24 hours, and that's 100% distributed to the miners. That's a pretty big chunk of coin. Again, it's no Bitcoin distribution, but if you actually compare their prices, coin for coin, percentage-wise, they're actually issuing more to protect their network. That's kind of cool. So moving on to one of the other biggest coins, Litecoin. On the script ASIC mining algorithm, they're issuing about 2 million in new coins, and they have a halving coming up, which, if you're wondering when that is, we just talked about it in a recent video, but it is in 46 days. When that happens, you see this 2 million issuance, that's going to be 1 million. So that profitability will be cut directly in half. However, Litecoin's had a pretty big uptick in price, which, if say Litecoin's price doubles over the next 2 months, but then, they cut their block reward in half, then you're going to be sitting at, today's value. It doesn't mean the end of it. coins have halved before and still continued on very, very well. Bitcoin, for example. So let's say you wanted to mine that. I know we just talked about this on the channel recently. If you're followers, so bear with me. If you are one of the 76,000 subscribers, please subscribe if you haven't already. Going for 100K one day, someday, maybe. There's the A6++ and the L5, which aren't on this chart. But basically, those are going to be the best bets for mining this coin. You need to have a good electric rate to be mining on an L3+, which was the dominant miner for script mining for very long. This is one of the mining algorithms I would definitely recommend to stay away from right now with the halving coming up and just the always awkward high prices of script miners per their returns. At the end of the day, with the halving coming up, this is incredibly risky. In my opinion, definitely one of the things to stay clear of. People are going to be looking to dump their hardware on people who do not know about or understand how a block reward halving works. So as you can see with the uptick in price and release of new hardware, that Bitmain is keeping to themselves at their BitDeer mining farm, and the A6++ is hard to come by from InnoSilicon as well. Hash rate is skyrocketing, and the earnings on this coin are lagging pretty significantly, and that's en route to a halving. So I don't know if that was an exciting breakdown, but that's just the truth. Definitely stay away from Litecoin mining right now. This isn't like a ding to Litecoin or any of that stuff. Just when it comes to mining, absolutely no way. No way. Next up, we have Zcash, a previously GPU mined coin that is now dominated by ASIC miners. They take 20% of the block reward for the first 4 years of their coin, so they're going to end up with 10% of their coin supply. So that's if I understand this correctly, and they're not accounting for that in this measurement, which I don't think they are, which means we'd have to take 20% of this off the table that would not be up for grabs for miners. So with that said, we still have well over $500,000 of coins being distributed to ASIC miners on the Equihash mining algorithm. Let's look at the top devices on that. We recently reviewed the Z11, the A9++, which is more or less the same thing, and the ASIC miner Xeon, which is an absolute scam. So with these things in mind, yeah, that's a pretty profitable device. And the Z9 Mini, which was the first Equihash ASIC miner to come out, is still making money this over a year later, or I guess exactly a year later, which for ASIC miners, that's actually a pretty good thing if you're unfamiliar with that. So if I wanted to get into this, I would, personally, I would be looking at, trying to get into an A9++ or a Z11 at this point, because this other hardware is just kind of old. While the Z9s and the A9s definitely make money, they're on the lower tier of efficiency, and efficiency is the name of the game, especially if you have residential electric. Less of a factor if you are a mining farm. So if we look at the mining profitability over the last 6 months, you can see, it's more or less the same. We've had new devices come out that push the hash rate up, but the price has, had an increase along with Bitcoin recently. So it's more or less leveled out. If we look at the hash rate, you'll see, however, that it has been steadily increasing. Again, we have had new, more powerful miners released recently, and the price has gone up. So keep in mind, the price goes up, people are going to find more miners that are on shelves that have been turned off. If people don't want to lose money every day, and if they see that they're making money day to day, even if they would have been running it in hindsight up until this point, they would have made more money day to day. It just would have been essentially applied retroactively. You probably would have acquired more coins and stuff like that. But my point is just price goes up. People are like, oh man, I better go grab that Z9 Mini and plug it back in. That's just the way people work, for better and more for worse. But anyway, that's that. So here's the Easter egg of today's video if you stuck along through all of it. The StrongU Stu U2 miner. So it mines 7 terahash a second on the Blake2b mining algorithm. So that was SiaPrime before they forked to a different variation of it that only their obelisk miners could mine. And that left the A3 and the S11 to mine whatever anyone else forked onto that algorithm, right? Well, this device is only selling for $470, right? It's like nothing. And it makes, per this site, almost $7 a day. But how? What is it mining? This calculator site from blakemining.com, assuming they're right here, is, with a 10 cent, here, let's put that in. I pay 12 cents. with that in mind, and it's saying that this miner only gets 5.5 terahash a second. Maybe that's the average of what it actually gets running versus, what's the specs say from the strong U, manufacturer. But if you're mining Cash 2, which I looked into that a little bit, is trading on the BISC exchange, which should be right here, only one listed, which is not a popular exchange that I, really use or have experience with or anything like that. But anyway, all the profitability around this machine all revolves around this coin. Pretty weird. We actually just got one in to test and figure this stuff out. And I mean, this is a device that you'd break even. You'd make more than your money invested in less than 2 months, like at this projection. I mean, it's crazy, right? Sometimes that's how a ton of money is made, and sometimes that's how a lot of people are parted with money for basically junk hardware. Either way, this is pretty interesting and something that I'm currently looking into. That brings me to the summary of today's video. Hope you enjoyed covering Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, Dash, and also Zcash, basically mining these top 5 ASIC mineable cryptocurrencies. ASIC mineable for better and worse, really. A little side jab right there for you GPU miners out there, myself included. But I meant to cover my face, but I struck my beard, and I guess that means I'm weird. So today, I hope you guys, found this interesting or helpful at all. Mining in 2019 is absolutely still profitable. It just depends what you're doing and what hardware you're using, what electric rate you have, and really what price did you get into that hardware at. If you get free hardware and you got free electric, well, you're making a ton of money, but that's kind of impossible normally, or especially very uncommon. So with all this stuff in mind, it really just depends, what do you want to mine? Like, are you a big Dash fan? You're setting out to mine Dash? Well, you want to be careful with that powerful miner on the horizon coming in November, because sometimes things ship early, like October or September. Sometimes things ship months and months late. And then if you bought the other hardware for a good price, well, then maybe you're going to make out well. If you're looking at stuff like Bitcoin, it's always going to be, a balance between what you're getting into that hardware at and efficiency. The S17 is a very powerful miner. However, a super cheap S9 could be more profitable for you. As always, your mileage may vary, and you just have to kind of weigh all these factors. And I hope that I presented them in a clear enough, hopefully, to understand way. So if you guys like these videos, please comment below. Let me know what you want to see in upcoming videos on the VoskCoin YouTube channel, and if you think I should fix a stupid squeaky chair. I hate this chair, but it's comfortable. I hate the way it squeaks though. Whatever. So thanks for viewing, guys. I always appreciate you. Make sure to hit the thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you haven't already, share with your friends, and above all, I'll see you next time. And somehow I'm still gonna try to keep this under 10 minutes, but well, you know how that goes. I just wanna be with you. Yeah, I just wanna be with you. I just wanna dance.